Apple TV, which is its first season here at the Emmys, and they're coming out of the gate here with the morning show. Several nominations, and I have a lot of these new Emmy nominees here with us today at Contenders. Very excited. This is a terrific show, and you should all be very proud of it. I want to introduce them one by one. First up, she's an Emmy winner herself for Friends. She is an executive producer of this show. She plays Alex, is nominated for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, and already the winner of a SAG Award this year. Jennifer Aniston. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, guys.
Hey. And we also have executive producer, but she's also the director, nominated for directing the finale of the first season here, and she's a multi-Emmy winner herself already. Mimi Leader.
Hi, guys.
And then two nominees in the Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Drama Series category. They're going to duke it out with each other. First up, we have he plays Chip in the show, the producer, and he's a producer himself. So many great independent films, and I couldn't even begin to list them all. Really talented behind the scenes and in front. Mark Duplass. And then on his first Emmy nomination ever, Billy Crudup. Welcome, Billy.
Thank you.
He plays Corey, the duplicitous network executive. Oh, yeah. And then he needs no introduction from me. I once worked with him on the Martin Short Show. He's done so many things. He has 12 Emmy nominations.
15. I hate numbers.
We can see some of the awards right in the back, and they're all well-deserved. He is nominated for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series. Martin Short, right here.
Thank you very much, young Peter.
Well, congratulations to all of you. This is an exciting time. I mean, a very first season show getting this kind of recognition from the industry and from the public, who this show did very well for Apple. And I'm happy to say there's going to be a second season eventually when we can all go back and shoot it. But let's talk about the first season and getting this off the ground, because Jennifer, you and Reese Witherspoon, who is your co-star on this and both executive producers, I think have wanted to work together for a long time. Couldn't quite find it. What was it about the morning show when it came to you that made you not only want to do this, but return to a series television kind of job here?
Oh, my gosh. Well, yes, we've been wanting to work together since she played my sister on Friends, and that's where we met. And we just couldn't find that magical something that we felt would be great for us. And when we both individually got heard from Michael Ellenberg about the book and pitched the idea for the show, it's a world I'm fascinated by. The New York, media and the morning talk shows and all that goes on behind those scenes, and it just felt very ripe and rich and exciting, and the opportunity to have an incredible cast of actors to get to work with, and it all fell beautifully into place.
Well, that's for sure. I'm going to show a scene right now, a clip from the show with you and Reese. I believe this is from the finale. It's a powerful scene, too. So take a look at the morning show.
Welcome, everyone.
Thank you for joining us.
In our top story today. Bradley, can you take this one?
Yes, of course. A Papua New Guinea-bound Golden Trident cruise luxury liner carrying over 5,000 passengers is in its fourth day of quarantine. Over 2/3 of its passengers and crew stricken with a mysterious illness.
What the fuck is she doing?
I don't know.
Stay on copy, Bradley.
The ship sits moored more than 600 nautical miles from Honolulu. A rescue ship is expected to arrive this afternoon with antibiotics and medical supplies to treat the sick passengers on board. A spokesperson for the cruise line says that they are working day and night to get all of the infected people back to the safety of their homes as soon as possible.
What's your name?
They are, quote, sorry, this cruise is short of the standards.
15 years, I've never met Joe.
Cruises.
What the hell?
All of the ship's passengers will get a full refund refund due to the outbreak.
Stay on 3.
Those on
Stand by
board
1. What do
began
you want to
reporting
do?
the illness
Just get her ass
only
back
2
in the
days
chair.
after journeying to
Alex,
Papua New Guinea.
Alex, please sit down.
Nope. I don't want to sit down. I'm not sitting down.
Wow. Oh man, that is from the finale, and just sensational acting. And this show has so many interesting themes, and it's really mirroring real life. I think as you started this show at a point when a lot of the stuff in the Me Too movement and everything else was not even happening when the show was first starting, and you had to sort of adjust. Is that right, Jen?
Yep, exactly. It was the summer right before we were pretty much getting ready to go, and then the Me Too moment happened. So we had to, of course, incorporate that into the show, and it added that layer of, I mean, unfortunately, that sort of it was just the final ingredient in this already extraordinary show. But there's something we always say kind of witchy about Carrie, because even in the finale there, when Bradley is saying there was a cruise ship that was basically passengers are being quarantined for some mysterious virus. I mean, it was just she has, and here we are. So we went from our finale and that into this moment, and I get chills when I think about it. But yes, it seems that we might have spies, but we don't. We're just.
What are you talking about? Is there something I don't know about going on? Is there like a virus?
Have you been home a lot?
I just,
Caught
a
up.
little bit.
Why
Yeah.
did you think no one had invited you anywhere for so long?
That's always been that way, Marty. I mean, listen, I don't have those trophies you have. I'm working on it.
Yes. We're going to get a close up now of Marty's. Wow, those are impressive. Mimi, talking about that though, you did have to make some adjustments as you were going along, and kind of like do this as you're shooting almost, because the news is almost one step ahead of you, or even one step behind, as Jen was saying there.
Yeah, and we just, really had to incorporate what was happening in the world and really get into the complexities of the Me Too movement and the nuances, and had to do it with each one of our characters. And because their characters are so complex, and they go through this journey in a 23-day period in the season, and the journey feels like a lifetime, and they all have some sort of discovery and or epiphany or growth or explosion. Jen's journey to speaking the truth on air and going rogue and finding her voice, was a very powerful moment, and a very earned moment in terms of, when people are involved in this corporate culture and have to look the other way or realize they are complicit and don't even know it. I mean, there's just so many layers of discovery that every actor, every character went through, except for Mr. Short there.
I'll get to his character. It's chilling. I watched it again last night after I had seen it before, and it's like what a conversation he has. I forgot to mention that Steve Carell, who couldn't be here today, Steve Carell is also nominated for Outstanding Lead Actor in a Drama Series. Which is interesting that you have so many here that have either won Emmys, been nominated, or are known for comedy, working in a drama series here. And it's very rare in terms of Emmys to see that, go from a comedy win or nomination into dramatic, Mimi. A great cast that you put together.
Yeah, well, they are brilliant, and we were very lucky, and every single one of their DNAs, just like really sunk up. And it doesn't always happen. And when it does, it's, manna from heaven. It's like a gift. And that's what we all had. And Carrie Aaron's brilliant writing. It was just synchronicity. And I was very blessed to work with each and every one of you. I mean, they made me look good. Come on.
Jen, did you have to shadow anybody on a real morning show? Did you base this on anybody, or how did you approach Alex?
I did. I went to GMA and got there at 5 o'clock in the morning and stayed there until for that wonderful 2-hour period of time where the engine just starts going and the wheels start turning and it's this adrenaline buildup of absolute utter chaos. And then all of a sudden, just like some magic wand, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and somehow everyone is calm and it's like nothing. And what you just watched was pretty incredible. In the control room and putting the stories of the anchors going in and pre-taping a little bump that's going to go over there, and everyone was so wonderful. And it was Robin Roberts, who worship love more than anything. And then I also sat with Gail King. She was incredible, and she's always been such a supportive friend, as well as Diane Sawyer, who I got to pick her brain, and she was sort of like the epitome of that's my archetype.
And then we saw all hell break loose. Matt Lauer, Charlie Rose, all of these things happening where, we're suddenly looking at Steve Carell like we're watching a documentary unfolding here.
The fact that he was our first wish and hope, because there's something about Steve that feels he is the man that can play that character, because there's no, I don't know how deep and far into a closet or a basement you'd have to go to find a skeleton of Steve Carell's. I don't know, but he just it felt like perfect. Because who do you trust more than, who did we trust more than Matt Lauer? You know what I mean? It's a very, that was a hard role to sort of step into also as an actor, and brave. And he just did it so beautiful.
So great. And Mark, congratulations on your nomination now. And you're playing a producer. Is that a big stretch for you, being a producer? How do you incorporate your own experiences in doing that into this role, I'm wondering?
Yeah, I think the world of being an independent film producer that I came up in is fairly similar in terms of this makes the fake smile you have to put on for everyone, and trying to keep the ship afloat with that sort of false dad energy positivity. But what the major difference was for me is these morning shows are live. When I'm producing something, we get 5, 6, 7, 8 takes. We can screw up as much as we want. And once you realize the stress of having to maintain all of the personalities, trying to boost their egos, trying to keep out all the X factors, then you realize, why these people eat like they do and why these people are constantly on the verge of a nervous breakdown. And, that was really the insight for me that made it hyperbolically more dramatic than anything I had personally experienced as a producer.
As an actor, I heard you had sort of an inspiration, another actor that you looked at, John Cazale. Is that true?
Yeah, he's one of my favorite actors of all time, because I think he's just one of the greatest supporting actors. And I didn't know him, but when you hear people talk about him, they would always say, when you were in a scene with John, you just felt so comfortable, and he was always so present for you, and he made you better. And I always thought that was something so cool that I would try to aspire to. It didn't work on this movie because you saw what Jen and Billy and Reese did, and it's awful. It's just awful. But I tried.
We appreciated the effort, the thought and the effort.
Yeah, I gave it my best.
So it was a work.
But I really do, in all seriousness, being like a supporting actor in this way was so fun for me to not, be in the producing chair or the directing chair, just to be able to be a contributor to Mimi and Jen and Reese and Carrie's vision of what they wanted this show to be. And they were such good bosses. And I think it's because you guys might not have had great bosses your whole life. You were such good bosses. And it was just an honor to see what you wanted and just give it to you. It felt great.
Well, let's take a look at another clip right now to see what Mark's talking about.
Hey,
Ready to go.
What are you doing? We're live in 90 seconds.
I need to talk to Chip. I need to talk to you.
What is happening? Because you're supposed to be on the air in like a minute.
Yeah,
so
listen. Hey.
What?
I need your word that you will wrap up my negotiation.
Look, I know you're scared, okay? The whole Mitch thing has turned everything upside down.
Why does no one get this? The Mitch days, they're over, all right? I would like hands-on control from this point on. I want co-host approval. Otherwise, I'm not going on the air.
Let's walk to the stage. Let's
Fine,
walk.
we can walk.
We'll walk.
But I'm not going on air unless you promise me.
Okay, can I explain something to you? Sure. Okay. You pulling this stunt with the network right now is not going to make them promise you anything. It's going to make them think that you are fucking losing it.
Well, maybe you have to lose it sometimes to get people to take you seriously. I've known you 15 years, Chip. We came up the ranks together, for better, for worse. Lately, it's been for worse, but whatever. You're the only person that I know that can push this through for me. And I know if you promise me, you'll do it. So you've got to promise me, Chip.
30 seconds, guys.
Listen, I am trying to protect you right now, but you are putting me in an impossible situation, okay? I can't promise you I can push this through. I can't. I just...
Well, you got Allison and Yanko. Let them go on. I'm not going on. And I don't want you to protect me. I'd like you to respect me.
What, did you read this on a card? What are you...
20 seconds.
I'm ready to fill in.
There, Allison. There you go.
No. They're gonna think you are crazy.
I'm not going on air.
10 seconds. 9. 8. 7.
All right, I promise. Fine. Go, sit, butt in chair.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Good morning. I'm Alex Levy.
And I'm Daniel Henderson.
And here are our top stories.
All right. Well, wow, Mark, that's intense. You had great scenes with both Reese and Jen, and different relationships Chip has. He actually was falling in love with Alex here, and we saw at the end a real evolution for his character.
Yeah, I think Chip goes through quite a change in this. I think that if you look at the sort of the toxic male behavior in this show, you've got guys at the top of that chain like Dick Lundy, who are very clear what they're doing, and then you got a guy like Mitch Kessler who says, well, at least I'm not Dick, so I'm okay. And then you got Chip looking at Mitch saying, well, at least I'm not Mitch, so I'm okay. But, I think that you start to realize that just because you're not actively doing bad things doesn't mean you're on the right side of the story. This is a journey we're all going through right now. It's not enough to just be passively not bad. You have to be, I think, actively routing out that toxic behavior. And Chip has rested on his laurels, and he doesn't realize until halfway through the show that he is culpable. And I think he has a crisis of conscience, and that was a really fun thing to see. I hadn't quite seen it before.
Billy, I've seen you do so much stuff. I haven't quite seen you do a character like this. He's so interesting to watch, Corey, because you're never quite sure what's going on in his head. He doesn't play all of his cards there, and that must be interesting to play for you, I imagine.
It was absolutely sensational to read. There's nothing more exciting creatively than to have so many questions about what's motivating somebody's behavior, and to think of somebody in a position of power and agency that he has, who speaks in the kind of tangents and paragraphs that he does, forces a kind of ingenuity, because she's written somebody singular, and you're meant to manifest that in some kind of authentic way, which means you have to create something that's outside of yourself. And that's on top of being a part of the kind of storytelling that everybody included here was going for, which is always the pinnacle of what I would try to achieve as an actor, is be a part of a company that wants to tell an interesting story, an entertaining story, and a socially conscious story in the most excellent way possible. That was enough for me, to have a character like this on top of it. Just it left me with a deep urge to not screw it up.
You didn't do that. He's such an enigma, though, and he can pivot from one thing to another. Did you, in your research, or do you in your career have any experience with executives that reminded you of Corey?
No, it wasn't necessarily any experience that I've had with executives. It's an experience that I've had with people who occupy rooms of power. And my closest proximity to that in New York is typically charitable galas, where They invite actors to take pictures on the line, and then you sort of glad hand your way through a dinner. And many of the people who buy tables there work in high positions of high power, finance, and all, everything that New York has to offer, and are interested in being in the room so that they can navigate the social structure. And they're hyper aware of the people around them and their behavior, and they have a keen insight into how they're going to play that evening to sort of further their own career. And that's how I sort of read him.
Yeah. Do you feel like do you judge him before you play it, or any character like that, or do you feel that's not a good thing?
If I'm on the precipice of judging a character that I'm reading, it's not likely that I'll play them. I have to empathize with some form of their motivation, and to that extent, I had many questions and conversations with Carrie about what was motivating him, so I could understand if it was somebody who I could actually empathize with. If he was going to be just a boob, or he was just going to be manipulative and Machiavellian, it wasn't as interesting to me. But she pointed out some sort of moral, ethical center that he might be able to display and manifest at a certain point, which she wrote so beautifully.
Yeah, he also is a musical theater lover. We get to see him sing Sondheim. You and Jen, I did not ever expect that. Wow.
That makes at least.
I don't know if you two expected that you'd be performing a song by Stephen Sondheim, but that you did.
We did. We had a really good time. I loved, as a kid growing up in New York City, that was one of my favorite musicals as a kid, and that song especially. But then that's one thing. Then to have to actually learn it with Billy. It was
yeah, that I keep waiting for the moment when my singing voice is going to magically appear, and it hasn't yet. So when you see something like that you're already committed to do, typically I would take a script like that and go, no, you don't want me for this. There's plenty of people out there who can carry a tune.
You had no choice.
But yeah, secretly, I want to be able to sing like that. So to have the kind of help that we did in providing at least a moment where I could feel that way was really enjoyable, just personally.
Well, I'm going to show the clip, and I personally think it's both your tickets to Broadway. So
no threat, Marty. Don't worry.
It's from Sweeney Todd. Not while I'm around. This is another clip from the morning show.
I dedicate this song to you, Alex Levy. You make my job so fun. You're gonna like this one.
What are you doing?
Nothing's gonna harm you, not while I'm around.
Oh, good God.
Nothing's gonna harm you, no sir, not while I'm around. Demons are prowling everywhere nowadays. I'll send them howling, I don't care, I've got ways.
You know this is a duet, Alex Levy.
No way. You're the musical theater now. You gotta get in there.
No one's gonna hurt you, no one's gonna dare.
Others can desert you, not to worry, whistle, I'll be there.
She knows the words, everyone!
Demons will charm you with a smile for a while, but in time,
nothing can harm you, not while I'm around.
Cool. That's really good. Let me get the judge on this, Martin Short, who's got a Tony in the background. We can see it for doing musicals. How'd they do, Marty?
It was spectacular. That moment was one of the most startlingly beautiful moments of the entire series. It really was, because it was totally unexpected, It had about 9 layers to it, and it was perfectly positioned in the whatever segment that was, 8 or 9, or it was one of the great moments of the series.
And David Frankel directed it beautifully.
Yeah, David Frankel, great director. So another great moment I thought was a riveting scene between your character Dick Lundy, Marty, and Steve Carell's Mitch, where you're talking about basically the Me Too movement, that all of the things that go on, and it starts off in a lighthearted kind of way between the two and goes really dark. And the way you two play it is just one for the books, I got to tell you, and that's why you're nominated. No question about it. Talk about that and talk about playing this character and having to do that kind of a scene, which is not a likable character at all.
Well, yeah, but he doesn't think he's not likable, and that's what makes it, I think, a little more interesting. You know, everyone who is often very guilty sincerely believes they're innocent. When OJ came back after getting off, he had a Bible in his hand. I remember when he pulled in, I thought, wow, does he actually believe he is innocent? Has he deluded himself to that point? And I think people do that. I mean, Dick Lundy is a guy who thinks, you know, first of all, guys, you know, they're like 68, but they still think they look great. So the only reason a woman of 24 would want to be with a 68-year-old is because he's hot. And that's back to that old word delusion. So I think that, and I think what was interesting with Steve and myself, we're both from Second City Improv. He's from Chicago and I'm from Toronto. And I think that we both have talked about that sometimes when people in comedy do something, quote unquote, dramatic, they feel they can't smile and they can't, you know, for fear of creating too much light. And some of the greatest villains are the greatest smilers.
Yeah. You know, and some of the greatest dramatic actors are comedians, or come from comedy, I've found too. And for you, you've been nominated for Emmys before for drama, like Damages and different things. And do you like going in this direction too? I mean, people obviously know you most for comedy and everything you do there, but you know, you're a hell of a dramatic actor when you get these kinds of roles.
Well, I do think that if, you know, it is constantly interesting for yourself to keep mixing it up. I mean, obviously, I love doing comedy, but I think of myself as a comic actor. So actually, you have to figure out the scene as a sincere scene and then add absurdity to it if you're doing a sketch. And in this case, I think it's just a different muscle, but it's kind of the same muscle as you use in comedy.
Yeah. And the scary thing about that scene too, with the two of you talking, is we know those conversations go on and are probably still going on. And there is that this show, Jen, brings up. There's a lot to talk about after you watch the morning show. If you watch all 10, or if you just watch one episode, it's full of stuff ripped from the headlines in that sense, but also goes right beneath it. And that's a different challenge for a television series, I think.
That was one of the other things that was it's so exciting about this, was that it would create such great conversation afterwards. And it's, you know, something that lives on. And when you see it again, if you happen to see it again, you'll find you see things you missed around in the first viewing. But it's just so, it was just so beautifully played. You were able to have sympathy for each character at a certain point, which is not an easy task to do, especially when there's some pretty, you know, bad behavior taking place. But at a certain point, you always had some empathy for these characters, which is, I think, also because you were allowed to see their humanness, and that's what we don't get a chance to see when there's villains are out in front of us. We love to just take them down, but then there's the, you know, moment when they're in their own private, you know, homes, and they're having a private moment and they're breaking down. It's just a lot of wonderful stuff to get to play.
Well, it's an amazing show, and if you haven't seen it yet, just run over to Apple, get Apple, find Apple, do whatever you can. I guarantee you, you won't be sorry. And thank you all for joining us on the Contenders today and sharing the secrets of the morning show. Thanks,
Thank you, Pete.